Hey everybody, today we're going to take an updated look at the U.S. Senate election in Ohio. Now there's not really any breaking news about it, but this is such a crucial race. We haven't talked about it in a little while. Will the Republicans be able to flip it? Can Sherrod Brown and the Democrats hold on? Let's just start out on the Wikipedia page. I'm sure most of you know the background with this race, but Sherrod Brown, he's running for that fourth term. Last time in 2018 in the Blue Wave, he won by about 7. 6 years before that, he won by about 6. So the state has undoubtedly trended toward the right over the last decade, and this is going to be a big test for Sherrod Brown to see if he can somehow use his incumbency and working-class economic appeal to squeak out one more win. And I think that is Sherrod Brown's strength, economics. I don't know where he stands on every single issue. I don't know everything he's said. But outside of abortion, I think the more he's pressed on modern cultural or social issues, I think more Ohio voters are going to be turned off. So what I usually say the strength of Democrats is, it's going to be the economics. Brown should talk about expanding health care, rural hospitals, labor rights, paid parental leave, wages, workplace safety, and of course some environmental regulation. We all remember the train derailment. I'm sure that topic is going to come up throughout this race, and it's probably easy to imagine Brown coming down on the side of more regulation, more safety, and putting that above corporate profits. And I think that's going to be a good move for Brown. Now, all the focus is going to be on the Republican side. We don't know who the nominee is going to be yet. Now, we've got two declared candidates. Matt Dolan, he ran last time in 22. He got in third place in that Republican primary behind J.D. Vance and Josh Mandel. He's more the establishment choice, more of the moderate choice, not really all that pro-Trump. And there were a lot of fears from the base that if he got in, he was just going to be another rhino. So this time around, Matt Dolan, he's trying to rebrand himself a little bit, and he's cozying up to Trump a little bit more, at least in the rhetoric. Now, Bernie Moreno, he's the other declared candidate. He is a political outsider, similar to J.D. Vance. His family history is from Colombia, and he's not really that well known yet because he's not in politics, but he's somebody that could gain a lot of traction over the next 6 months and potentially be a front-runner heading into next year. Now, I've watched some of his ads. Like most non-politicians, he talks up how he's sick of the same old system. He has a different background. He's an outsider, and that's supposed to be a winning message. Now, almost everybody agrees running as a pro-establishment career politician, that's going to be a bad move. So saying you're an outsider, saying you have a different background, saying you bring different things to the table, that's fine, but we want to hear about specifics. Now, the problem for Republicans is usually economics. Now, J.D. Vance, he has not been as laxed on business regulation and as pro-profit as we would expect from traditional Republicans. I think Vance is taking the right path. Of course, he's not going to go far enough on economics, but I don't think Republicans should just run on tax cuts, budget deficit, and eliminating all regulations. Some regulations are going to make sense. Case in point, the Ohio train derailment. And then there's other populist economic messaging like protecting Social Security and Medicare, also Medicaid, and maybe increasing some revenue from the top slice of the income bracket. So we'll have to see what Moreno does on the economic side. On the cultural side, he's probably going to have a winning formula. America first, securing the border, getting rid of illegal immigration, not outsourcing jobs, not being laxed on crime. That's probably a winning message, certainly for Ohio. Now, at the same time, anybody could sound like a major economic or cultural populist, but maybe they're bought out, maybe they're grifting, maybe they're just trying to win so they can get into office and not really deliver on any of the goods. That's a possibility. So there's a lot of distrust for almost any politician these days. But between these two candidates, I would think Moreno, who has lower name recognition, would end up being the favorite by the time the primaries roll around. Now, we also have the Secretary of State, Frank LaRose. He has an announcement pending. He's expected to get into this race. He's won statewide. He's going to be more well-known than probably both of these candidates. He seems like more of a mainstream Ohio type of Republican. He's going to try to feed the base enough to win, but I don't really know how much excitement there's going to be behind LaRose. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't looked at enough of his positions, and this guy is a complete superstar. But we also have potential candidates. Jim Jordan, most people know who he is. He's probably going to just stay in the House. If he got into this, he'd probably be a reasonably strong candidate. Dave Yost, Ohio Attorney General. I don't know a whole ton about him. There's a possibility for him to get into this race as well. Now, we've got several declined candidates here. Josh Mandel is not going to run again. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's on here. He's, of course, running for president. This might have been a better place for him to actually start running for president, win an Ohio Senate seat, get some experience, get some name recognition. Then maybe he could run in the future, but he wants to start at the top. I don't know what he's going to do after he ends up dropping out for president, but it appears it's not going to be running for this Ohio Senate seat. Now we've got a few endorsements here. It's super early, but the one to point out for Bernie Moreno is J.D. Vance. He's already endorsed Moreno. He's trying to give him a little bit of an edge this far out. We'll see if it pans out. We've got one primary poll here. This poll has the backing of Frank LaRose. It's from a month ago. It does show LaRose in the lead, but only at 24%. Matt Dolan at 11%, Bernie Moreno at 6%, 17% other, and a massive 42% undecided. So this race is fluid. A lot of things are going to change over the next 6 to 8 months. Now, if we go down here, look at the general election polling, that same poll shows Sherrod Brown at 39%, generic Republican at 37%, 24% undecided. I don't think there's much value in these polls with a generic Republican. Plus, there's just so much time where everything is going to change. But Sherrod Brown is not unbeatable. He's at least in a precarious position, and the right Republican or the right national environment could certainly take him down. Let's do one more thing and get on New York Times and take a look at J.D. Vance's win back in the midterms. So Vance beat Tim Ryan. He got 53 to 47. That's close to a 6-point win. There's all these red counties, but the two biggest counties for Ryan and the Democrats, Franklin County, Cuyahoga County, both of those support the Democrats by over 2/3. And there's a few other blue counties, but there's enough deep red votes scattered around the rest of the state to put the Republican J.D. Vance over the top. Now, if we go down here and see how the vote compares to the presidential vote in 2020, you see a lot of blue arrows on here. Most of these did shift toward the left. Trump won the state by almost 8 points, Vance closer to 6. So that 2-point deficit means a lot of these counties did support Tim Ryan at a greater percent than Donald Trump. Vance is from the southwest part of the state, Hamilton County, where Cincinnati is. That actually shifted very slightly toward the right. So that could be a bright spot for the Republicans, or that could just be a one-off. So what does all this mean? Well, it's clear that Sherrod Brown, he's vulnerable to say the least. Given that it's so far out, right now I still would say Sherrod Brown would have a tilt advantage. Just under 1 point, just because we don't know what's going to happen on the Republican side. It's been impressive for Sherrod Brown, winning 3 terms. The state has shifted toward the right. If you're the Republicans, you cannot think this is going to be an easy flip. And if you're Sherrod Brown, I would guess you'd want to shy away from social and cultural issues, aside from abortion, and focus on those populist working class economic issues. So we'll see what happens with this race. That's a little bit of a glance at where things stand. Let me know in the comments, who do you think will be the Republican nominee? What do you think will happen going up against Sherrod Brown? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.